Big news in the world of MMA as we have been fed lies recently in the media as Dricus du Plessis has finally came out and spoken about the whole Khamzat Chimaev situation and about his injury. So Dricus du Plessis says that the reports about him being injured are not true and an announcement is coming soon. So he said, I believe this was on Instagram, he posted this saying, okay, so everyone had their opinions and rumours and stories about a shin break and injuries, etc. I found it all very entertaining. Unfortunately, none of it is true. Myself and the UFC already discussed a fight date and opponent. The June fight was never signed. I did not pull out of any fight. I am the champion. I know when I fight you as a contender. Just show up when we tell you to. Fight announcement coming soon. Stay tuned. So this definitely clears up the air. And this was a thing I did say when I was speaking about the DDP pulling out with an injury. It actually was never confirmed that he was fighting Khamzat at International Fight Week. The UFC never even gave hints that that was actually going to happen. That was just us, the MMA fan base, kind of just going logically in our head, being like, well, Jones Aspinall is an International Fight Week. At the time, we thought Ilya Islam wasn't International Fight Week. Now there is the rumour that that is going to be the fight. So then the next logical fight, the next big one, was DDP versus Khamzat. So everyone kind of latched on to that fight. And then when Khamzat started posting up stuff about him being in camp and stuff like that, and then whenever the rumour came out about DDP, Khamzat was quick to tweet out calling him the biggest bullshit or something. So everyone was kind of thinking, right, that's it, DDP's out injured. And then that shin report came about saying that he was in, that he'd fractured his shin and then he wouldn't be back till 2026. So everybody just had it nailed in that DDP, his shin was fucked. He was out of International Fight Week. But DDP has just confirmed that that was not true and it was never signed and that they are working on a date and an opponent. I think the opponent obviously is going to be Khamzat. Now, when this fight happens, I'm not sure, because when you think about it, Dricus du Plessis did fight in February, and yes, he did beat Sean Strickland convincingly. He beat him 4-1. But with Dricus du Plessis' fight style, he is almost guaranteed to get some sort of niggle injury in the matchup, because he is all go from the first second till the very last second. And February, what's that? February, March, April, May, June, 4 months. Especially when you're going in there against someone like Khamzat, that is a quick turnaround. Let's just be honest. I mean, that is a quick turnaround. I would say this fight maybe takes place September, August. And again, International Fight Week's taking place in America. We're yet to know, can Khamzat Chimaev even fight in the States yet? Because we haven't seen him fight in America in a very, very long time. Normally when we're getting Khamzat Chimaev on the fight cards, it is him in Saudi Arabia or him in Abu Dhabi, because I think, if I remember correctly, he can't get a visa to get into the States. Now maybe that's changed. Hopefully it has changed, because I think this is where this fight needs to take place. DDP, Khamzat in America, or alternatively, which is something I would love to see, DDP Khamzat in Africa. Now, I don't think we're ever going to see UFC Africa, because they had the perfect fight for that, and that was Adesanya DDP, and they took it to Australia for some fucking bizarre reason. But at least this clears it up. DDP's not injured. We are going to get DDP versus Khamzat, not when we originally thought at International Fight Week, but again, that was just our minds playing tricks on us, because the UFC never confirmed at all, not once did the UFC come out on social media and say DDP versus Khamzat Chimaev was going to take place at International Fight Week. So I'm guessing this fight takes place August, September time. I am really looking forward to this matchup. Like I said, this is easily the third biggest fight the UFC can make right now in the entire promotion. And people might disagree with me on the order here. I think Islam Topuria, when you look at social media numbers, it actually might be the bigger fight than John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. It might be, because Islam Makhachev is a massive star. Check his social media numbers. So is Ilya Topuria. That actually might be a bigger fight than John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. But either way, those are number 1 and 2. Ilya Islam, John Jones, Tom Aspinall. And this right here is easily the third biggest fight the UFC can put together right now. And you know what? The more I think of this fight, I was always dead set on Khamzat Chimaev beating him. I just thought Khamzat's grappling, especially early on, would be too much for Dricus du Plessis. But DDP's tough. And I think DDP will be able to outlast Khamzat. And in the later stages of the fight, that is where you have to favour DDP. This is honestly such an intriguing matchup. I cannot wait to see it. Glad DDP's not injured. Let's move on. Tai Tuivasa. How the fuck is Tai Tuivasa still in the UFC? Especially when you see this. Tai Tuivasa has revealed that he is 308 pounds and that Tai Tuivasa is returning to training next week before returning to the octagon early 2026. How is this guy still in the UFC? Now, I like Tai Tuivasa. He is fun. He's got a fun fight style. He's not elite level, if we're being honest, but I mean, he has beaten some big names in the heavyweight division. His biggest win being against Derek Lewis, who is a former title challenger in that division. But this right here, he's 308 pounds. We haven't seen him fight in ages since DDP versus Israel Adesanya. He's not making a return anytime soon. He's on a 5-fight losing streak. In his last fight, he fought Jairzinho Rozenstruik, who has now been cut from the UFC. He's been cut. But Tai Tuivasa, who's on a 5-fight losing streak, he's not even taking his career serious if he's blowing up to this size. Like, the guy's just not taking his career serious. He's somehow still ranked inside the top 10 of the UFC's heavyweight division. And how are the UFC allowing this guy, who's on a 5-fight losing streak, just be like, yeah, I don't really feel like fighting this year, so I'm probably going to wait to early 2026. How does that make any sense? It doesn't make sense whatsoever. And again, just goes back to show how shit this UFC heavyweight division is. It is awful. It is crap. The UFC need to really prioritise signing prospects to this division because it is a sinking ship. It is ass. You're not even taking your fucking career serious. What the fuck? What is going on? And then they cut Jairzinho, but they keep Tai Tuivasa. Bullshit. Moving on to another big headline. We've got Chael Sonnen saying that Tom Aspinall will not be fighting Jon Jones next and instead will be facing Ciryl Gane for the interim title. Now again, this is coming from Chael Sonnen, so take this with a pinch of salt. This guy, I don't know if he's ever been right when he's reporting news. However, if Jon Jones isn't fighting Tom Aspinall next and Tom Aspinall is fighting Ciryl Gane, I don't mind the Aspinall-Ciryl Gane fight. Obviously, I want to see Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones. But if Jon Jones isn't going to fight, I think Aspinall-Ciryl Gane is the next best thing we can get. I know there's been talks about Almeida. Almeida is ranked number 7th, though. I feel like he needs to get at least one win inside the top 5 before he can say he wants to fight for the belt. So Ciryl Gane, even though he did rob Volkov, he probably is the next best option because it's going to be hard to sell a rematch between Tom Aspinall and Volkov when Tom Aspinall finished him in the very first round. But it's this part here that annoys me. Interim title. Why the fuck would the interim title be on the line? Why? I've got the hiccups. Why is the interim title on the line? It doesn't make any sense at all. Strip Jon Jones, and I've seen a stat saying Jon Jones is very close to breaking the record for the longest UFC heavyweight champion. Bruh. The guys fought twice in the heavyweight division, and they were months apart. How can you reward this guy with this accolade when he's ducking the number 1 guy in his division? Like I said, honestly, I want to see Tom Aspinall fight. I'm not over the Jon Jones Tom Aspinall fight. I really want to see it, but at this point, I'm like, I just want to see Tom Aspinall fight. So if it means getting Ciryl Gane, Tom Aspinall now, in like International Fight Week, maybe it's on that card, and then November we get Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall, I'm happy enough with that. But then I suppose if you do Ciryl Gane, Tom Aspinall now, and then Tom Aspinall beats Ciryl Gane, then he beats Jon Jones, then it's like, what do you do with the division then? Then it really is dead in the water. But yeah, like I said, this is coming from Chael Sonnen, not the most reliable source, but if this is true, the UFC is fucking falling off badly. They need to sort this shit out. And finally, just quickly, I just want to talk on this. Ian Gary is fighting this weekend against Carlos Prates, and in all his stuff, you're seeing a lot of damage on his face, especially this cut right here. Will this play a factor in the matchup? Because it seems like he's obviously been cut during his training camp. Will this open up? Will this be a problem Could this fight end up being stopped due to a cut? Who knows? I mean, obviously the cut isn't in that bad of a place. It's not over his eyes, his eyebrows, etc. So it's not going to get in the way. But maybe this is something that could play a factor in this matchup. Maybe. But I'm still going for Ian Gary to win. I think Ian Gary either beats Prates by decision or late TKO in the championship round. So yeah, that's all I've got for you today. Let me know your opinion on all these news stories. What do you think's going to happen? And as always, thanks for the support. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you all again in the next one.